All right, opening day. Welcome everyone. Chris Dinga here with Michael DeRosa. Going to do some preview and picks here this morning. Michael, how are you?
We're back, baby. We made it. Long off season. To its credit, the transfer portal makes the off season that is like 8 months feel like 7.5. So that's pretty good. We'll take that. But man, so good to be back. I have not slept much over the last couple of days. I'm just too excited. It's hoops times, baby. It's hoops. We back. We made it.
There is like something like 130 games to tip off the new season here on November 6th. The majority of which are not all that competitive, but there is a couple that we'll hit on, and then we'll get into our best bets. So we'll get it going here and talk about Georgia and Oregon on a neutral. It's a neutral site game. Oregon is a 5-point favorite. The over/under is 139. I think I lean the Ducks here, but nothing strong from me. This one's more of just like, hey, there's this. Both of these teams are quite unproven and super interesting. Mostly, I'm curious of whether Oregon starts Feli Dante and Nate Biddle together. If they do, I might probably live bet Georgia just because that style doesn't work. What do you see in this game?
Oregon was a team I was a lot higher on than most. Georgia was a team we were both pretty low on. Looking at our Pac-12 or excuse me SEC show with Josh, he was like, "Dude, you guys are too low on Georgia," and it's like, all right, that took me back a little bit. Like, all right, I should probably lock in. And they do have a talented roster, to be fair. Like Jabir Abdur-Rahim, they bring in some good freshmen, Damari and Blue Kane, who I like. Return pieces like Anselm, so it's like they're going to be all right. But like, I really like this Oregon team. That said, I'm not betting this game. I just don't. I'm not even though I like Oregon, it's like there is a chance I'm really wrong on that team because they've let everyone down the past like 3 years. So it's like this is a game I'm just gonna watch it. I think Oregon wins. I'm fairly confident there. It's just a matter of I don't know if they win by 5. I'd be much more confident with them in a money line parlay than in a straight. And I don't think I'm gonna play either.
Yeah, for Oregon, a big thing last year was just they turned the ball over so freaking much. Yeah. With Barthélemy at point. Losing Will Richardson actually, I think, kind of helps in that regard. And then Cuisinart, I think, will kind of shore up his ball handling a little bit too. Shooting edge is probably going to be Georgia, maybe, but we'll see. Nonetheless, 5. If this spread was like -3 Oregon or 2.5, then I'd be interested. But 5, a little much.
I could see them like somehow like last second winning this game by 4, and we start the season with a bad beat. I think that is well within the range of outcomes.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on now to the second big highlighted game of the day. K-State against USC, another neutral site game. USC favored by 3 without Bronny James. K-State without Tomlin, who is indefinitely suspended. And the over-under in this one is 143. This one, I do lean USC. They'll have, in my opinion, probably 2 of the best 3 players on the floor. I just think the overall talent level is point USC, and I think that matters early on here, especially
with the loss of Tomlin for me. Early on, I probably leaned Kansas State in this game just because I thought those 2 teams were fairly even. I'm getting an underdog. You lose a guy like Naquan Tomlin, I think he really matters for this Kansas State team. I think he changes the way they're going to be able to play, and he gives them I think we were talking about them too much as a 1-2 punch in the offseason. I think Tomlin was legit force and could have made it like a decent, like not a big 3 type, but like something like that.
Yeah.
Without him, it is pretty much just a 1-2 punch of Kaluma and Perry. And where Tyler Perry is really good. Kansas State's backcourt's good. USC's is better. I got Collier and I got Boogie Ellis up against Quez Glover, who is really good, and Tyler Perry too. But it's the size, the athleticism, they're going to have the advantage there. You need Kaluma something in the front court. I think USC's front court pieces are good. The worry with me is it's Tang versus Enfield in the end. It's like I'm not super confident in Enfield covering a spread there, but I do like USC. I think the talent's just better, and I think you could convince me to lay money down on USC. I've not done it yet, but you could convince me.
Yeah. The coaching edge is really the only thing that points me to K-State. Down low, Josh Morgan and Vince Chukwu against a pretty small front court for K-State. I mean, Kaluma's only, 6'8", and he'll be asked to guard one of those big guys. I don't know how that works out, but definitely lean USC. Let's get into our actual best bets of the day, Michael, and we'll kick it off with you. Eastern Michigan is being hosted by Butler. Butler's 15-point favorites, and he puts on a hat. Mm-hmm. It's a Butler hat. Yeah. Tell me about your dogs tonight.
Yeah, this is a matchup I really like for Butler. Eastern Michigan's best player is guard. It's Tyson Acuff. Do you bring in Posh Alexander in the offseason to not guard the other team's best guard? I mean, that would be foolish. I think Coach Mata can see that. He's like, all right, I got a lockdown defender. Get him on Acuff. I think that pretty much shuts down all of EMU's offense from that point forward. And like Jalen Billingsley and Legend Geeter are going to be the two guys who have to beat you. I watched a lot of Jalen Billingsley play. He was on that 0-20 Georgetown team. He's fine. He's a fine player, but he was a development piece, and he didn't develop because under Ewing that year, nobody developed. So he's going to have to be the guy for them at the 2. I don't think he is. I think Butler's more athletic with Brooks and Telford on the wing. They're more skilled at every position. The offense just looks better. I think Butler should kind of cruise in this game, honestly. Eastern Michigan doesn't play any defense. They haven't done anything over the last 2 years. I like Butler. In this spot. I think they win by 20 plus. That said, this number is getting a little out of range. I took it at 13.5. I tweeted out full disclosure. I have it at 13.5. I've also taken the team total over. I believe it's 78.5 right now. I think this is a showcase for Butler's offense. I think both teams want to push the pace more than expected, or at least Butler does. EMU, it's kind of expected with them. I think that plays into Butler's favor if they want to push the pace. I have Posh Alexander. He'll be able to drive the lane, and EMU doesn't have a great big to wear. I'm afraid of Telford, Brooks, Posh getting in the lane and just not scoring. I'm not afraid of that. And then once those guys get in the lane, you'll have to collapse down. DJ Davis, 40% from 3. Good luck. Say goodbye. I think this is a showcase for Butler's offense. It looks a lot prettier. They run better sets from the 2 exhibition games, which granted it's easier to run better sets there, but still, I think Butler should cruise here. I think this is a spot. I think this number is too short.
Yeah, the mid-majors like this, when they get hosted by bigger teams and more talented teams, when you don't have a elite rim protector, it tends to be kind of a long day, and I think that's probably what we see here. That being said, 15 might be a little rich for me. If I saw it at 13.5, I probably certainly would have hit that, and I'll probably wait. And if it gets down to 14 or 13, 12, then I probably will live bet it. But yeah, that is certainly the right side of things. I would definitely not be touching Eastern Michigan in this spot.
Yeah, Butler should cruise here, man. This is. I'm not going to bet him every game by any means, but I think this is a spot that should look good.
Yep, agreed there. Next, we'll move in to one of my ones that I like a lot, which is Utah. If you know me, you know I'm big on the Utes this year. Craig Smith, just an all-around great X's and O coach. Utah is 12-point favorites against Eastern Washington, who I think is still being bet like Steele Venters is there. He's gone. Tyrese Davis is gone. Allegri is gone. All of these scorers that they had last year are all just out of the program. Their point guard is Nick McLean, who's a okay community college transfer. I don't know, okay. Jake Kyman comes in, I suppose, who was a shooter for UCLA and then Wyoming, but I mean, he's never been all that efficient in his time, and also just not a great defensive player. Eastern Washington's big calling card this year is having 2 6'10" guys that can step out and shoot jumpers. Brandon Carlson is better than you at that. He's just fine playing on the perimeter, and he's a better shooter and faster than those guys. So everything that Eastern Washington will want to do, I think Utah is set up to defend really well, and then offensively, they just have too much talent. Lovering and Carlson will be a really good 1-2 punch down low, and then I think the wings and the guards, Madsen will. I mean, even though Utah is not super athletic, they'll still have the athleticism edge. And if that's the case, then I don't see how Eastern Washington competes.
Yeah, you hit on what I was going to say at the end. I like Utah in this game. I'm probably going to bet it. Utah, they just have the athleticism. They're not at a severe athleticism disadvantage. I think those are the spots that could get Utah, but they know exactly what Eastern Washington wants to do. As you mentioned, Eastern Washington's being bet like Steele Venters, like Angelo Allegri, and all those guys are still there. They're not. This is a completely different team. Utah should have more cohesion, and I just think they do everything that Eastern Washington does better. So at 12, I don't think that's enough. So, yeah, give me Utah. I'm with you on this one. Good pick.
Yeah, Raleigh Worcester and Gabe Madsen, I'm telling you. Everyone's saying that backcourt is kind of one of the worst in the Pac-12, and I'm telling you that's not going to be the case this year. Yeah. All right, we'll move on. Back to Michael here. UMBC, hosted by Louisville, the Cardinals. 10.5 point spread here. I think I know the angle you're going to take. What do you got?
Yeah, Louisville should not be a double-digit favorite over anyone. That's it. That is it. Kenny Payne has to prove to me he can consistently win games by double digits before I stop betting the other side. This is a blind pick. I got UMBC. early. I don't know if I saw it at one point. It was 9. I'd still take it there. Like if it's anything over 7, it's like I'm just not trusting Kenny Payne. Yeah, it's 9 now. I got it at 10.5. I really like that bet. I'll take it at 9. They could win this game outright. UMBC is not even like a great mid-major, but like
No.
there are a couple guys there like that are down transfers that it's like, all right, they should be like talented enough to like compete. And Louisville, Kenny Payne said the team wasn't talented enough after they lost to a D2 team. Hey, Kenny Payne, you brought in these guys. These are your guys. You were brought in as a recruiter. You're your guys. Yeah. Good luck. You got to play a UMBC team that has a couple guys that I like. Like Bryce Johnson comes in averaging 9 points from Chicago State. He's fine. Max Lurker-Lloyd they have like decent size from Penn. It's like, you know what? I don't know. Just
Lurker-Lloyd is, I watched him last year. He would have started, but Nick Spinoso just ended up being really good at Penn. They are talented. That's what got me a lot about that comment for Louisville. It's like, Payne, this isn't your first year in the program. Like you have brought in those guys. Okay. If they're not talented enough, that's because of you. I don't know.
It was bizarre. And it's just like, yeah, you can't be a double-digit favorite over anyone. They might win this game by double digits. That could reasonably happen. They're significantly more talented than UMBC. But I'm not betting you as a double-digit favorite. That's not happening.
Yeah. Agreed there. Also, I think I like the under there.
I can see it.
Yeah. UMBC's guys strike me as a little bit more gritty defensively, but I don't know if they have, the offensive kick to score, 70. So if you think it's close, probably lean the under.
I like it.
We move on to Monmouth at George Mason. George Mason favored by 11.5, hosting Monmouth. Monmouth started out the year, Michael, 1-20 last year.
They were
pitiful. They're retooled. King Rice is their coach over there, and he essentially just said, we moved over to the Colonial this past year, and we just didn't have the roster to compete there. This year we do. We're bigger, stronger. They have a real mid-major roster as compared to like a low major roster. They bring in his son, who was Xander Rice, who's a transfer from Bucknell, really good shot maker, 14 points a game and shot it well from 3. I think there's enough here. They return quite a lot. Like I think they got 4 or 5 seniors in the rotation. Xander Rice is the big guy, but Jack Collins is his backcourt mate, who also is a 11 points per game guy. I think he'll shoot it a little bit more effectively this year. They're bigger, stronger, better. They figured it out down the stretch. They won 4 of their last 8 or something like that towards the end of the year, even with kind of a bad roster. This year, I expect it to be a little bit different. And George Mason, their entire team is transfers. 12 points in their opener. I don't know. I think they're a good team, talented. I think it'll take them a little bit longer to figure it out.
I'm on the other side of this one. I actually really like George Mason in this spot. Monmouth was pitiful last year. They bring in Xander Rice. Like, why wasn't the coach's son there until his senior season? I don't know. I mean, I assume it should work out for them, but Monmouth was so bad last year. And this George Mason team, I think, is genuinely undervalued. Like, they're looked at like in Ken Palm. They were like 10th in the A10. It's like, I just think that's too low. They were, in Ken Palm. Let's see what the projection was for them. George Mason. Yeah, they're 164th in Ken Palm. I think they're better than that. Like, I really like Tony Skinn. I think he's going to be a good coach. And there's talent on this roster. Ronald Polite returns, averaging 11.5 points a game. Then you bring in Darius Maddox from Virginia Tech. He averaged 9 points at Virginia Tech. Now he's at George Mason. I think he should be really good there. I think he should thrive. And there were a couple good transfers like Jarrett Billups from Siena. He was good. Keyshawn Hall is this big, like he's like 6'7", but he plays like a guard. I like his game. Yeah. He's tough. Inside, little worry, but I don't think this Monmouth team's taking advantage of him inside. I think there's talent up and down this roster for Mason. I think they're not being talked about enough because his team is talented, but they have underperformed the last couple of years. I think Skinn's going to do a good job there. He will get talent to George Mason, and I think in their season opener, their opener of this new era, which granted they've had like 9 new coaches in the last 2 years, but I think Skinn's going to do a good job there. I think he'll be there for quite a while, and I like Mason in the spot. I have not bet it yet, but I was thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see our first actual matchup against each other in the year. That'll be fun.
Yeah, head to head. It's
yeah.
This one.
Princeton against Rutgers. This is, I guess, technically a neutral site. 5.5 point dogs is Princeton. Over under is 137.5. What do you like here?
I would lean the under. I just think these teams are defensive minded. They're going to be a slow paced game. But why is this line only 5.5? If Princeton did not make the Sweet 16, is this line double digits?
It'd be close. Yeah, probably.
Tosan's gone. He's gone. Langborg's gone. Those two guys are gone. How are they going to score on Rutgers? Pierce is fine. They have Aloka's fine. They're good. Those two guys are good. I got Derek Simpson and Cliff Marie. Good luck. I think Rutgers is a team that's undervalued this season. They're going to play defense, and yeah, that's really all I need. I think Rutgers wins this game fairly easily. I think 5.5 is way too short. Rutgers is a team generally you don't want to bet as a favorite. You want to bet them as an underdog, but I think this line's too short, man. I don't see Noah Fernandez is good. Derek Simpson's going to take a jump. They have pieces. They have more depth. Gavin Griffiths is a bucket. You have Mawat Mag back. I really struggle to see this line. I don't get it. I think it should be higher. 5.5. I saw that yesterday, and I was just like, yes, please, and unloaded on that one. This line's too short.
Camp Spencer and Mulcahy both being gone is a bit of a culture shock, I guess, for Rutgers. Matt Aloka, I will say, is probably, I think he's one of 3 all Ivy first or second team selections back this year. So he is really experienced and a really good player for Princeton in the backcourt. Shot 38% from 3, pretty shifty, can get to the rim a little bit. Rebounds really well for being a guard. But yeah, you hit it down low. Their biggest player is 6'7", against a couple of really good bigs for Rutgers. They should have a field day down low. Whatever the Rutgers team total is, I think I like that a lot.
The line is 6 now. I'd still bet it at 6. I think this line, I would probably bet it up to 8. I think Rutgers should win this game by double digits.
Now, Mitch Henderson is a really good coach for Princeton. I will give him his flowers here, right? He got to the Sweet 16, beat 2 teams that are better than Rutgers is this year, in my opinion. So, but yeah, no Tosan. Everything they did was through Tosan. So we'll see.
He was a significant difference maker. Without him, he was their matchup nightmare. That teams, it was just like you could not guard him. I think Rutgers can guard these guys now. And I think if I give Steve Pikel enough time to prep for the Princeton offense, I think he'll be fine. And I also have Derek Simpson's points prop over 12.5. That's too low. It just is. If it loses, it loses. But I like Derek Simpson this year. So I think this will be, if he is as good as I think he is, this might be the lowest we get it in a while.
Fair. All right. We'll move on now. St. Thomas at Cal, a 9.5 point spread. The over-under is 143. Michael, I'm going with the over here. And opening day overs are, not super appealing usually, but this one I like a lot just because I know St. Thomas is going to score. Johnny Tower, who's their coach, is really crafty offensively. He got a team with less talent to be a really good offensive team last year. I've seen them, the sets they run live. It's a beauty to watch. And that being said, they have enough talent. Raheem Anthony, okay, that's a name everybody will know if you follow the Summit League. Raheem Anthony's a transfer from St. Mary's, a D3 school in Minnesota, but he's going to be a baller. Some of his tape is like, wow, man, you're going to be awesome. And then Parker Bjorklund is the other St. Thomas guy I like down low. 6'9" forward, can step out and shoot it, plays bigger than his size as well. And then on Cal, Fardaws Imac should really have a field day. I mean, Bjorklund is a good defender and plays bigger than 6'9", but still, and I'm sorry, it's 6'6", not 6'9". But if 6'6" is guarding Fardaws Imac, shit, he's going to score at will. And Cal is just the better team. I don't know if this final is going to be 5 or 15. So I'm not confident on that, but I do think the over is the play. I expect it to be like a 81-71 type of deal.
Yeah. When I looked at this game, I saw your pick for it. The first thing I did was see what granted, this is the most talented team he's had, but looked at Mark Madsen's offense ratings when he was at Utah Valley. In 2022, they were 184th in net offense efficiency, 87th in defense. this last year for Utah Valley, 119th in offense, 29th in defense. So that would alarm me a little bit just because better defensively than offensively. But when you look at it, St. Thomas plays no defense. They're good offensively. They don't play a lick of defense. So I think you'd need Cal to kind of run it up and hope St. Thomas can just create points of their own. I don't love it. Don't hate it. It's your pick. I respect it. So you think, I don't have much more to add on it than that. Cal's offense and Ken Palm is supposed to be, I think it was like 145th this year. I think it'll be better than that. So
they will be. Yeah, they have enough the talent, and that's the thing is I think I'm just higher on Cal than most, and I know you are too. That they should score more than expected.
Yeah, but I have not bet this. Just
okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Throw the disclaimer out when they score 104 points in this game. Huh? All right. Move back to Michael now for our last best bet of the day. Youngstown State is at Louisiana, who is catching 4.5. The over/under is 149. Michael, what's your spot here?
Yeah, this line has dropped down to 3.5, and that's really annoying because I really liked Youngstown. I would still bet it because I think they win this game outright. Are we forgetting that Greg Williams and Jordan Brown, they're gone? They left. I loved this Louisiana team last year. They were so good. And they were really underrated in the Sun Belt because other Fun Belt teams were like good. So it was like, oh my God, wait, they can have multiple good teams in the Sun Belt. And then they ended up winning the thing as like the 3 seed. But those guys are gone. This is a different team. And Youngstown, they were the 6th most efficient offense in the country last year, just raw efficiency. They lose a couple guys, sure, but same coach, same system, and they bring in a couple guys who also can score. Are we forgetting that Jordan Brown's gone? This is my biggest bet of the day. Full disclosure, I think Youngstown wins this game outright. I do not think they should be the underdogs in this spot. You lose in Louisiana. They lose Jordan Brown, Greg Williams, Terrence Lewis, all average over 10 points a game. And they gave him that versatility, that length, that size that other Sun Belt teams just could not match. They don't really have that this season. Like they're starting a 6'8 JUCO transfer in all likelihood, 6'7 guy who averaged 18 minutes a game, 6'6 guy who averaged 10 minutes a game last year, and then their smaller backcourt. Youngstown can match that. Youngstown's going to be able to score. Youngstown has cohesion. They're one of the best offensive teams in the country. Yeah, I think this line is being lined as Louisiana and Youngstown are even, maybe Louisiana a little better, and I think Youngstown's a better team. And not to mention, they smoked Akron in a scrimmage. They beat them by like 30. Akron was apparently missing some guys, but yeah, Youngstown's going to be able to just dash them, I think. I think Youngstown wins this game outright in my mind.
Yeah, I guess the only thing holding me up is that Youngstown is a part of the Horizon League, which is just a worse league than the Sun Belt. And I think Youngstown will probably finish 4th in the Horizon League. That's just my projections, but I think I got NKU ahead of them. I have Wright State ahead of them, probably Cleveland State. So the 4th best Horizon team versus like the 8th or 9th best Sun Belt team. I don't know. Like on paper, that seems pretty close to me. Yeah. But this should be a close game, and 4.5, I agree, is probably a little too much. If it is 3.5 now, I don't know. I think I'd want the 4.
I mean, more points is better when you're taking an underdog.
Right.
But I don't know. I think Youngstown's. I'd put them over Wright State. I think I'd go Cleveland State, NKU.
And Trey Holden hater. Okay.
I reject that label wholeheartedly. Yeah, I don't know. Just I think the Youngstown team is going to be good. They're going to score points, and I think their system is very hard to prepare for, especially when you don't have that cohesion that you had last year. They returned some guys, but this is a team that is expected to be, I think it was like 8th, 9th in the Sun Belt. And it's just like, I think they're being priced as if they're one of the elite Sun Belt teams.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Yeah, the Almanac has them 11th. Say goodbye. You're not. You might beat Youngstown, but it'll be tough.
If you're the 11th best team in your conference, then yes, they will lose this game. But that seems a little steep to me. That program is really good. Yeah. Okay, well, that's all we got, Michael. Is there anything else you want to hit here on opening day?
Samford plus 19.5.
Sanford playing Purdue. Yeah, 19.5 seems like a lot. Well, what's the reasoning there?
They're going to press. They were one of the best pressing teams in the country last year. They're going to do it again. They're good. You can get me a back door if I need it. Zach Edey's going to have 3,000 points. That's going to happen. But also, the thing they've done with the 5'7" Dallas Graziani at the tip, come on, that's electric. The social media content for them, if you have not seen it, go find it. It's like 10 minutes probably combined of all the videos, but it is brilliant. Samford has done an excellent job. I like Bucky Ball. I think he's a good coach. So, yeah. Samford plus 19.5. You can get me a backdoor if I need it, and it's 19.5. If I lose, I lose.
I'm always down to fade Purdue. I will put out on the screen here. This is our official best bets of the day. I'll tweet them out. But Michael has Butler minus 13.5, Rutgers minus 5.5, UMBC plus 10.5, and then Youngstown, the pride of the Horizon, plus 4.5. I got Monmouth at plus 12, even though it's like 11.5 now. The Cal, St. Thomas over 143, and then Utah, the Utes. That's my best bet at minus 12. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and yeah, we will. We'll be doing this occasionally throughout the year and the week, and we'll see how we do. But yeah, thanks for following along.
Hoops is back, baby. Let's go.
Thanks. We'll see you.